Today we are here to discuss what is the best format for a course. So there are several different ways how you can go about this, and if you know that you want to create your own online course, you're getting excited about the idea, explore this episode, hear what are different variations, and then decide what will be the best fit for you. And let me tell you right away, the format in which you provide your course will not directly be related to whether or not your offer is going to be successful. There will be many other things that will play a big role in that, a way bigger role in that, than the actual format of the course. So I would suggest you to choose the format that makes you the most excited. And depending on how immersive is going to be your course, what it's all about, and how you reach your audience on a daily basis, it might show you the way in choosing the best format as well. Now, let's dive into this episode that I hope is going to be rather short, but I mean, who knows? So, what is the best format for the course? As you might have already guessed from my introduction, there isn't really one perfect fit format, but one of the most popular ones, one of the simplest go-to formats definitely is video-based course. And in most cases, video-based courses will be based on the slides. Practically, this means that you'll be creating the slides, most likely in Canva. Some people also prefer to do it in PowerPoint. Whatever rocks your boat, it doesn't really matter. You create the slides and then you record the overvoice. You can record the overvoice just as the audio on top of the slides, or you can create the overvoice with the small talking head bubble. This means that you will also be visible in camera somewhere on the screen as you record your video content, as you record your slides. The first option often is the most popular go-to because it's just way simpler to record voice rather than think about how you look in front of the camera, how that whole setup is gonna look like, and so on. It's also a lot easier to edit the voiceover videos. You don't have to think about, again, just yourself on the screen, how it's gonna look like. And if you ever have to make any changes within the content, or for example, add in a lesson, it will also be the simplest way to go because you have only the overvoice and nothing else will really change. You just have to adjust or add in more slides. You do another voiceover and nobody will really tell that it has been recorded at a different time. So this will be especially great if you know that your course might require updates. For example, you're a social media manager talking about Instagram. There's always something going on Instagram, right? Or you are working with Pinterest and you want to help others to create successful Pinterest accounts and actually drive traffic from Pinterest. That is also another platform where there's a lot of changes happening all the time and you might be required to go in and make some updates as these changes come along. And in these cases, having the slide with the voiceover without the talking bubble might be the best way to go. Additionally, we also have talking head videos. So instead of having the slides, you might also just want to sit in front of the camera and talk. This can be a lot more challenging to record, especially if you don't have the camera experience. Plus, you have to be mindful about how you're going to be getting the information. Are you just talking based on some bullet points and you're just going to be, talking from your mind? Or you will be reading a transcript, or maybe you will have like some script printed out. There might be a lot more editing work involved as well. And again, this will really depend on how comfortable you feel in front of the camera. For some, this will be the most fun, the most easy thing to do ever. For others, it can be complete opposite. I know myself, I love being in front of the camera, but just the hustle of getting it all out there and making sure I'm setting it all up. I'm, arranging myself to look nice in front of the camera, making sure that I say all the right things. It can be a hustle, and editing is definitely a lot harder as well, at least for me. So what I prefer to do is do the slides with the voiceover. Sometimes I do the talking head just to add in a bit more of my personal vibes in there, but I have found that there really isn't much of a difference whether I'm there or no. I usually will choose the talking head bubble on the screen if I'm doing like a masterclass, so my audience can actually get to know me if they're new and I'm doing like a free class, right? Or I'm doing like low price paid offer. And again, I'm targeting like fresh in audience. In that case, I want for them to get to know me and I might do the talking head thing. These three are kind of like the basics, something that is most likely expected in most cases. It can be combined with many different elements. If it's a live program, it can be combined with like Q&A or live sessions. If it's pre-recorded evergreen content, you can also add in workbooks or any templates to use, anything else as well, whatever makes the most sense for your specific offer. However, besides these, there are other ways to go as well. Another one very popular these days is creating a private podcast. So this would mean creating a paid podcast that your audience, instead of watching the course, they can listen to it. And for me, as an avid podcast listener, I absolutely love this option. However, you have to be mindful about the fact that many of the learners will be learning visually. So especially if this is the kind of topic where it's requested for them to kind of sit down and either make some notes or visually follow anything at all, it might not be the best bet for you to create a private podcast or, in general, guide them through this in an audio format. However, if your focus is the kind of content that your audience can easily follow by just listening, you still might cut out some audience because not everybody will love to just listen to things. They still might want to see visually. But if for you this is the easiest and your audience loves podcasts, they love to listen to audio recordings, and this might be the best fit for you. Plus, you might be thinking about quicker, simpler, smaller product and you want to sell it for lower price. Creating a private podcast might be the way to go. There are several platforms that are very popular for private podcasts, which will literally mean that your podcast is behind a paywall. So your audience will be requested to pay to enroll, like to actually listen to it. And this can, there are so many different variations. This can really be anything. You can even create like seasonal paid podcast where every season you release like 5 episodes on a specific topic and your audience can either pay once or it can be like a membership offer where they pay monthly and they get to listen to all of these episodes, or like you release 1 monthly episode or like 5 monthly episodes. If it's 1, maybe it's longer. If it's 5, maybe those are like 5-minute episodes. Maybe there's a specific focus, as I already mentioned, for like each month or each quarter. There's so many different ways to play around with this. I absolutely love the private podcast idea, but it definitely is a slightly different format from the video, and you have to be mindful whether or not this will actually serve your audience in a way that you envision it. The plus for the private podcast option is that you will have the audio materials yourself. And once you have tried and tested it as a private podcast and maybe you're getting great success, you might actually realize that it might work great in a video format as well. You can then take your existing audio material and put it together with the slides and you have a visual course. So this definitely is a great way to play around with it and kind of like ease into the process, see what works, see what your audience is thinking, and go from there. And the last but not least, I do have another one on the list, and the last option is an email course. And again, in most cases, this will be viable if you are thinking about shorter, smaller course. Maybe it's not even going to be a course, you're thinking about a challenge, like a 5-day challenge, 10-day challenge. I mean, it can be 30 days as well, but just be mindful about the fact that your audience will have to receive this information in the email. Now, when it comes to email courses, again, I have to repeat myself. When it comes to the price point, in most cases, they will be lower priced. So if you know that you're not really ready for a full course, you're not going to be, investing your time in recording anything, but you would love to write useful information, give some action steps, add in some samples, whatever might be the case, email-based course might be the best fit for you just as well. And this again circles back to the fact that you can always just test things out. If you're uncertain if you want to subscribe to any platform, if you don't really want to waste your time recording anything, audio or video, or maybe you know that for the next month you won't be able to record, and maybe then you could do that. You can start with the email course as the base, so you will have the written material, and from there it can expand into other options. It can also be a great first step, so it can be a teaser offer where your audience is getting to know more about your expertise. They know what you're all about, and once they go through it, you can upsell them a different offer. So you can actually think about, it doesn't even have to be the course in the next step, right? You can offer them one-on-one, you can offer them done for you services. So they have gotten to know you through this email course, and then for the next step, you can offer them a bit more high-priced offer. Besides these, of course, there are plenty of other ways to go. And I just want to encourage you to kind of explore what fits the best for you, at least right now. Because always, in my experience, the most important part is to take action, to actually get into the process, see what happens, see what resonates with your audience. And it's great if you're ready to do it by creating a course already, but if you're not there just yet, you might want to try out some other variations. But another thing I want to mention is that often, and this is something I just see quite a lot, that when you opt in for a smaller, like lower priced, simpler variation, you don't put in as much effort in actually promoting it. So for example, you create an email course and you're like, well, it's out there. I have posted one Instagram story about it. 3 people joined, amazing. And then you never really talk about it because it's just not as exciting for you either, because it's, it's a bit more low key, it's a bit more low priced. And maybe you don't really feel that passion for the offer. And it might not be the case, but this is just something that I keep seeing a lot. And it applies not only for email courses, but in general for some lower priced, simpler offers. It might seem like a great first idea, but then as you actually do it, you realize that, you're kind of playing small and it doesn't excite you. So if you are ready to create like a full course, and it doesn't even have to be full, you can create just the base for now in a course format, in a video format, I would say go for that. But if you are open and you would feel better exploring other options, definitely consider them as well and see what is the best fit. Now that will be it from me for this time. If you have any feedback or any other topics you would love to hear more about, definitely reach out to me on Instagram at Course Creation Lab, and I hope to see you in the next episode.